Good now?
Yes.
All right. Refresh.
To everything you told him to do, he wouldn't be your husband. He would be your child. You see, there's a big difference between parenting and partnering. And marriage is supposed to be an opportunity for two people to come together with their own ideas, their own opinions, and challenges that you guys get to work through in deciding what is best for the both of you to continue growing and moving forward together. But your controlling spirit will trick you into believing that by you being in control and dictating what happens and when and how, that you will just feel better, that things will just be more efficient that way. But what I want to remind you of is that your controlling spirit is only an opportunity for you to lose yourself, build up a whole bunch of resentment, and eventually burn out. You understand? If your husband listened to everything you told,
So, based on what she was saying, right, it was more about aligning, making it make sense. So I wanted to ask the question: should people focus less on standards and more on being compatible? Should people focus less on standards and more about being compatible? So if you notice, people uphold these features that they want from a person. That's really what they are, and we think we this and that because of what we accomplish, so on and so forth. But a lot of that makes us less compatible. And I would even venture to say some of the things that women think are great and push them up, men don't value so much. So does it lower women's compatibility in a way? So just using women as an example from my standpoint. So should people focus on less on standards and more on being compatible? What you think, Eris?
I'm gonna say yes. I recently watched like a clip of a lady talking about this. She was in a relationship with a man who checked all her boxes and met all her standards, but it just the compatibility was not there. And all her friends, she hung in longer than she should have, and a lot of her friends were like, "No, this is the one. Like, look, he's good, man. He has this, da da da." But she was like, "I can't. Like, I don't feel it." And she ended up like I think she just was like, I just don't want to regret it. I don't want to go on a double date and sit across from a couple that's all in love and know that I'll never have that just because I married somebody who matched my standards, but we're not compatible.
Yeah, interesting. What you think, Eddie?
I think compatibility is way more important, but it's not to take away from having standards. You got to have some sort of, decorum to how the hell you function in the world. But compatibility matters, man. Whenever I'm out or I have one of my functions, one of my chef events, I pay attention to people's social interactions, particularly men and women, couples. It's just like, yo, you could tell, like, y'all just in that shit because it looks good. Y'all just in it because y'all been together for so long. Y'all just in it because y'all got kids. But they do not fuck with each other. Like, I see couples like that a lot. I'm like, yo, like, why are y'all together? But it's just a matter of, oh, this is who I've learned to be comfortable with. Plus, society says you should be with somebody, and all the other stuff starts rolling in. But it's like, yo, like, you don't fuck with him. You don't fuck with her. Like, why are y'all together? So I would say compatibility is huge.
So them standards of like 6 feet, the certain level of income, having a certain amount of education, right? So if you take men and let's say he doesn't have a bachelor's degree, if he's making $40,000, if he's under 6 feet, right? These are societal standards that women uphold that will get this man dismissed. And then what happens? And all along he could have been compatible. So I'm talking about standards like that are more superficial. And again, I'm talking from a man's standpoint, looking at men that are perpetually single and not getting no cheeks either.
Yeah, I wouldn't call those standards. Those are pure fantasies, right? It was like worldwide, only like 7 to 8% of men are over 6 feet.
15% in the state. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, in the United States, like only about 8 to 9% of people make over 100,000. So it's like, it's even less for men. It's even less if they're educated. It's even less if they happen to be tall. It's even less if they, are attractive. They got all their teeth. They got no side tooth missing. Like all those things are less and less and less and less. But all that shit is fantasy. I wouldn't even use the word standard, right?
Nigga,
So
have all your teeth is a fantasy? Hold up. I'm sorry.
I
I ain't
mean,
gonna lie.
there's niggas out here in love that ain't got teeth. I'm just saying.
You gotta have your choppers.
All
I
right.
ain't gonna lie. I got a tooth pulled before. A grown up tooth too. Them motherfuckers out here lying like y'all niggas ain't having root canal or something. That tooth was dead. They just saved it.
No,
Y'all niggas out here fronting, boy.
I never had a root canal.
Love, what you think?
So I want to turn on its head a little bit.
Be careful now. You know how I get.
Angry? Yes, I know. So compatibility is more important, but it necessitates you knowing who you are and being comfortable with who you are. So you can have someone that you're compatible with, that you come in contact with, but you shun them or you don't give them the time of day because they don't level up to the standards of your family, your friends, and you may be easily swayed depending on who you're talking to. You should be with this type of person, but you're not compatible with that person. And so a lot of people they are impacted by societal pressures. And so you have to be comfortable with who you are to know who you're truly compatible with. Standards like, making a certain amount of money, those things fade. We know height even can go away because if he gets into an accident and the nigga's in a wheelchair, height means nothing. And so knowing, what you really care for and what your true desires are is what matters and should matter. And that goes for men and
women. The wheelchair thing threw me off, but I think the rest of it was decently solid.
I know somebody that happened to. That's what I'm saying. He was fine. He was over 6 foot. He got into a head-on collision. Now he's in a wheelchair.
But
You're not fine no more? He can't roll up on you?
All puns intended.
It wasn't for me. It was my friend's man or in love interest. It was my friend's love. It wasn't mine. It was a friend's.
You still with him?
No, because he was crazy.
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
Hold that.
No. He really was. Like, he had issues with.
He was crazy in a wheelchair?
Right. You know why?
Like Charles.
Hell no.
Asia, we don't want to hear about your superficial friend. Eris, what was you about to say?
I was gonna ask if like wanting somebody to be over 6 feet or over is the issue. Like, I feel bad like for wanting that.
How tall are you though?
I'm 5'11".
Yeah, nigga, that's different.
5'5", nigga. You don't want a 5'5".
I'm just saying,
5'11".
I've definitely been shamed before, and I'm like,
the standards gotta be realistic though. We talked about
right.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking about appearance. Like, now you know good and well that is not in your caliber of folks that you should be looking at. You gotta be realistic.
Stand 10 toes down on what you want, Eris. Stand 10 toes down on what you want. If you want a man 6 foot in the butt because you don't want to look down on him,
you're gonna be single.
Don't do that. You'll be single forever.
You gotta be single. You're gonna be single.
Wait. See, here's the thing.
See what I'm saying? This is why I asked that. I'm like,
but not Eris. You good, but that's why that question is scrolling, because you standing 10 toes. Where has that gotten us?
Who said I stood 10 toes?
No. When I'm saying Love said that, I'm just saying like that doesn't. It hasn't actually benefited us. Oh, by the way, Eris, Chief is 6'3".
Shit like that.
So Alex, you said motherfuckers be reaching?
Yeah, I just feel like obviously compatibility is important, but I look at standard as first, right? That is what's gonna get, for being honest, what's gonna get people in the door. But I don't just necessarily think about appearance. I think about, do you have a job? And do you have a good job? Does your job give you benefits, right? I think about, are you in your right frame of mind? Like, I think of all of those other things, and then once we establish that, now we can move on to the compatibility. How do we gel with one another? To Eddie's point, I know what he's talking about when you see people and you're just like, why are y'all together, right? It's very interesting, and I like to people watch, and I like to look at people, and I like to say, like, okay, I understand why they're together. That makes sense. But then there are some people who they can image-wise look nice, but when you meet them and when you're around them, it's just like, what's going on here?
Yeah. What do you think, Chief?
So I think trying to follow up what Eddie was saying, standards is like it's a difficult word to apply when we're talking about just attributes that we like desire or we're some of our asks, being 6'1" or whatever the case may be. And when it comes to compatibility, I think the better word would probably be chemistry, because on paper we can be as compatible as ever. You look on paper, you're like, oh yeah, these two fit. You know what I mean? It looks good, but when you get together, the chemistry, you know what I'm saying? Like you get the high class, the pro basketball team with all the stars on it, but they don't gel. Ain't no chemistry. You know what I'm saying? So I think chemistry is something that because we all have heard opposites attract. When you look at them, there's no compatibility, but they found a way to find that chemistry between each other. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's probably different wording, but to answer the question, should people focus less on standards and more about being compatible? I think no. I think you have to, you know what you want, you know what you like, and what you're sacrificing. You're willing to sacrifice here and there, but stand 9.5 down if you have to. But you got to stand firm. You got to stand firm in what you want. Right. There's a little bit of give. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta know what you want and know what you like. And settling ain't the move.
So, Chief, so you're separating chemistry from compatibility, because they were synonymous to me, and what you're saying is they're not.
You don't. So for example, on paper, we could mesh. It can look good. You got 2 kids, I got 2 kids. You went to this school, you got that degree, I got that degree. We both love poetry. We both love R&B music. Our favorite rapper is Jay-Z. Cool. We get together and it's just kind of like,
yeah. I was saying, compatibility is chemistry. No, I get that. I get that, but compatibility, and maybe I should have given a definition first. And thank you for doing that. Mine was geared more towards chemistry / energy / that synchronization. So, that's where I was going with it.
Energy speaks volumes. Energy speaks volumes. Before people even walk in the room, sometimes you can just tell, like, that's somebody I'd rock with.
And that's compatibility, not your standard, because they may be 5'5" and you want a 6 foot nigga, but when he walks into the room, he grabs your attention. And that's the compatibility that I was.
It'd be tough one nigga 5'5" to grab anything.
Yeah, he can't grab anything. He's reaching. That's what he's doing.
But so in terms of Chief, it would be slightly semantics regarding this question. So the chemistry compatibility in my head, that's what it was. Like you got the feel for that person.
Yeah, but I think chemistry is the word, though, because we can all be compatible, but chemistry is kind of like that interaction between each other. You know what I'm saying?
Write down compatibility. Yeah,
right. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? So that the chemistry is what's mostly important. But again, with standards, though, I think like that's a bold word. You know what I'm saying? Standards that's heavy. You know what I'm saying? Because so women, if you meet a dude, and they say women know more way faster than men. You meet a dude, you want to give him the cookie, right? And I think we had this conversation last episode. You give it to him, and all of a sudden the romance is out the window. He stopped taking you out, and so on and so forth, because now he feels like that standard has been lowered. You dig what I'm saying? So when I think of standard, I'm thinking like holding standards apply like equivalent to accountability, in a sense, for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's a heavy word for me.
Okay. Anybody else want in on this question?
Yeah, I do.